We're talking with Mike Reilly from Prairie League ahead of their concert with Firefall on Saturday, January 24th at the State Theater in downtown Eau Claire. It's a 7:30 show. Mike, first off, welcome to Eau Claire for the show.
Oh, we're thrilled to be here, especially in January.
Yeah, of all the times to be here. And actually, you lucked out this year. If you'd been here like this time last year, it was probably, it was all like polar vortex, 5 below and everything. It's actually kind of mild. You came on a good day.
It's actually balmy. We're in Green Bay tonight, us in Firefall, and then we're heading up to Eau Claire tomorrow, and it's a balmy 33 degrees.
Yeah, it's basically shorts weather around here. Have you ever been to Eau Claire before?
Yes, we have, but it was way back in the late 70s, I think, when Vince Gill was in the band.
Oh, wow. Do you happen to remember where you performed back then?
I'm trying to think if it was a theater or it possibly at a college.
Okay, UW Eau Claire, like Zorn Arena or something like that?
Yeah, because we were doing all the UWs. We did Oshkosh and Madison and Eau Claire, and we did like 6 colleges around the state, I think.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, tonight you're at the State Theater. I don't know how much you know about it, but it's kind of an older, used to be a movie theater. It's been renovated as kind of a performing arts center of sorts, so you should like it in there. I know the people that we've been giving away tickets are, like, really excited to the degree that I haven't heard outside of our big rock fest we have around the area. This is an unusual level of excitement, so you're going to get a good crowd on Saturday night.
We're looking forward to it. And, the show is great. Firefall's been sounding great. Prairie League is kicking some serious butt. And, we're really looking forward to getting there and seeing some old friends.
Well, and what got you associated to tour with Firefall?
Well, our manager and booking agent booked Poco and Firefall and Prairie League and Atlanta Rhythm Section and, acts like that. And so we do a lot of combination-type shows. Poco's sort of in semi-retirement, and so we were doing a lot of shows as the Dinosaurs of Country Rock with all 3 bands, and now it's the remaining dinosaurs of country rock here with Poco and with Firefall and Prairie League.
Okay, what would you say of the Firefall songs? I've seen a little bit of the set list where they have been performing. Of those that you've been hearing live when they take the stage, what's your favorite of theirs?
Of Firefall?
Yeah, Firefall.
Geez, it's Strange Way is a great song just because I love the recording, and they've got so many daggone hits. It kind of pisses me off a little bit, because they've got so many recognizable radio friendly songs, and people know us for Amy 2-Lane Highway and Let Me Love You Tonight. So, but they're a great group, and they, it's a great bunch of guys, and we've all been friends for 40 years. So I'm really glad that we're out on tour together. And
as I understand, Mark Andes is back in the band for Firefall.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, so. It's such a great thing. Matter of fact, I'm looking up in the lobby here of the Hyatt Hotel in Green Bay, and I just see Firefall's drummer walking up on the 6th floor. So.
Literally on tour together. This is awesome. Mike Reilly from Prairie League with us here at Bob FM and also Ollie's 1150. Now, for when Prairie League takes the stage, what's your favorite song to perform live?
It's really hard to pick one. We're doing everything that are our favorite songs. There's songs that, especially this year, we're doing some songs that we haven't done since the early 70s, off the first 3 albums. Songs like Angel and Woman. And so those new songs that we're revisiting after 40 years, they're so fresh sounding and, they're energetic. And so those could kind of be my favorites. But I think Picking to Beat the Devil and Woman and Amy, of course. When people stand up and start singing Amy, we have to get all puffed up and we have to calm ourselves down.
Well, if there was a song that maybe you'd really like to perform live, it's not been in the set list for a while or whatever reason doesn't make the set list, what would you say is like maybe an underrated song you'd like either Prairie League fans or just maybe music fans in general to pay more attention to, maybe kind of look up and take another listen to?
There was a song on 2-Lane Highway called Runner, and another one called San Antonio, which were just gorgeous, gorgeous songs. They both had string arrangements and stuff like that on the record, so it'd be kind of hard to duplicate. But, some of those songs, we did a lot of tunes that that really, for me, were standouts, but they weren't necessarily radio play material. But the album cuts, I never would allow filler to go on the records. So everything that we put on the records, we wanted to have its own personality and individuality and uniqueness. And so there's songs like that I missed, but that's once again why we drug Angel and Woman out after not playing them since '72.
Should be good to hear these on Saturday night, State Theater. Mike Reilly from Prairie League. Now, you joined, it was right at the conclusion of Bustin' Out, as I understand it, and right after Amy. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe anyone from the recording session of Amy, anyone in that particular lineup is with the band right now, but you joined right after that. Right.
I was doing an album in upstate New York in Woodstock at the time. They were doing the Bustin' Out album in Toronto. And then I joined them for rehearsals, and then we went out on tour starting on Labor Day of '72, right after the Bustin' Out album was finished.
Okay, so you joined then, and describe for us. I mean, a person could do the Wikipedia search, but you lived it. Describe how the transition went from joining right at that time. There was Craig Fuller having to leave the group, and the band was dropped from its record label, and then you guys just eventually kept on touring and built it back up, and then Amy becomes a hit a few years later. Kind of describe, how did that whole phase go?
Well, when Craig, in '72, Craig had some problems with the draft and was forced to leave the band and go to a state college, as it were, quote unquote, in Springfield, Massachusetts, to do his military service time. We decided, do we sink or swim? And so we decided to swim for it. And I called a friend of mine, Larry Goshorn, who I'd played with for years in Cincinnati. And, Larry joined the band, and we took off. And our booking agency at the time was the largest college booker in the country. So starting in '73, we started doing about 275 shows a year, mostly colleges, all over the country. And I think it's just, after about 3 years of cramming Amy down college audiences' throats, people started, getting close to the song, and they finally released it as a single, and, the rest is sort of classic rock history.
And the band kept going from there, and then a few years later, Vince Gill joins the band.
Right.
How'd you get him in the band?
How did I get Vince?
Yeah, how does he end up joining?
Well, he opened up a show. He had a bluegrass band called Mountain Smoke in Oklahoma City, and they were opening up a show for us at the Civic Center in Oklahoma City, and the band was great, and I invited Vince up on stage to play a few tunes with us, and then I asked him if he wanted the gig, and he told me no. So about 2 years later, we were auditioning guitar players after the Goshorn brothers left in '78, and Vince showed up at the auditions with this buddy of his from L.A. who definitely did not make the grade, but, since rehearsals were over, I asked Vince if he wanted to stick around and jam for a while, and we played for about 3 hours, and I said, "Now do you want the gig?" And he said, "Yeah," and joined the band in '78, did 3 albums with us, and about 3.5 years.
Fascinating time. You've also worked with some bigger names in the industry, helping out on albums. I've seen David Sanborn. Speaking of, Let Me Love You Tonight, for example. Yeah, Sanborn and Don Felder and Emmylou Harrison. What you were about to say something there a moment ago.
Well, that's it. I mean, we've been really lucky. I mean, we had Chet Atkins play on Kentucky Moonshine,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Gimbel, and just some great guest players over the years because they're friends of ours, and it was one of those kind of things where that's what this song needs. This song that Larry and I wrote needs Emmylou's vocal on it, and so we called her up and got permission from her handlers and stuff, and got her on the record.
What was your what maybe most special collaboration with? And it doesn't even have to be necessarily a big name in the industry, but of all the non-official members of the band, like some of the names I've mentioned before, which is the one that maybe stands out the most as the one that's most special to you?
We were recording the Can't Hold Back album in Miami at Criteria Studios, and I think it was 1978, and Vince had just joined the band, and we were in the studio. The Bee Gees were in one studio. Julio Iglesias was in another studio, and Johnny Cougar, right at that time, was in the other studio. So
wow,
there was a lot of music going on, and we did a couple of tracks that did not go on the record, but we had a couple of guys from this band called Foxy. Richie Puente, Tito Puente's son, on percussion, and Joe Galdo on drums, David Sanborn, and a bunch of other kind of like Miami musicians. And it was the song we recorded had a real Latin flair. Of course, that pissed off RCA to no end. But it was one of my favorite tracks that this band ever recorded. It's just too bad that it never got to see the light of day. I think RCA was so mad at us for doing a kind of a salsa-fied track that they destroyed the master tapes. But that was a collaboration and it was live. We did it in one take, and it was just ridiculous. The energy and the musicianship that was going on. But Vince was playing like Larry Coryell, and Sanborn was blowing his butt off, and boy, the rhythm section was propulsive. It was just, I think that was the most fun collaboration we ever had. But then also doing the Two Lane Highway album, when we did Kansas City Southern, I had Ronnie Blakely and Renee Armand singing the high parts, on the train whistle stuff, and well, that just sent chills up and down my spine. So we've had a lot of moments. We've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to collaborate with some great people.
I'm talking with Mike Reilly from Prairie League ahead of the show with Firefall State Theater in Eau Claire on Saturday, January 24th. Now, speaking of all these albums, there's one theme, obviously besides the name, is that cowboy. Who is the cowboy that's on the Prairie League album covers?
Well, he was sort of unofficially named Sad Luke. We got that. We did the first album cover. We took it from a Saturday Evening Post cover that Norman Rockwell did in 1927, and the cowboy was sitting there. And this was I saw the photo, basically, that Rockwell had taken of his model named James K. Van Brunt that was sitting there in his apartment, dressed up in his cowboy duds, sitting there listening to the Victrola, thinking about his old girlfriend. And he was holding an Enrico Caruso album called Dreams of Long Ago. And Rockwell took the picture and decided he had to paint this picture. And became one of Rockwell's most popular Saturday Evening Post covers. I've been doing a lot of research on that lately because we visited the Rockwell Museum in Stockbridge, Massachusetts a couple of months ago.
Oh, wow. Fascinating.
So, it's just an amazing story, and it's kind of fun to find out the history behind all these things.
And I especially love how he kept on the albums even when the design started to get more contemporary, circa 1979-80, but he's still there in a little circle and has stayed all the way through the last album in 2005.
Well, that actually wasn't. I don't want to make excuses, but we had a different album design, and we were all shocked at what they released. They took our concept, which was Can't Hold Back, and we were expanding on the theme of the Bustin' Out album, where he's coming out through the saloon doors. Mm-hmm. But we were using a grid like, I'd seen an article in Time magazine about, or Omni magazine, about how space bends and curves and folds, and we were going to have Luke basically busting through the fabric of space and time, if you will. But then RCA decided to take matters into their own hands, and after all these years of giving us artistic license designing the record jackets, they kind of ran with that one, and that was the end of our career with RCA. The music was good, but we weren't thrilled about that album cover. But and actually, Luke wasn't even going to be on that cover, and we said, wait a minute, we can't put out a Pure Prairie League record without having Luke on there somewhere. So they stuck a little bullseye up in the left-hand corner of the record.
That's how that happened. Okay, and then by firing up, he was back already.
Well, yeah, that's because we changed labels. We went with Casablanca, because it was that time of the big disco scare back there in the late '70s, and we had signed with the disco label. Our label mates were Donna Summer and Kiss. So but they let us once again design our covers, so we got back to the Luke theme.
Still got your identity in some capacity, anyways. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it was branding before branding became a popular word.
That's a good point. I mean, there's just a handful of acts that have done that, even going way back. I mean, Chicago's probably the highest profile example. I know Journey's had some sort of a sci-fi thing on their covers. I know a couple metal bands have sometimes had a similar character. But yeah, it's an underrated thing. And you're right. It was before you had to have this certain logo or image all the time. You guys always had that.
Well, and it was an unconscious thing, but with the name Pure Prairie League, we just decided to follow that theme and kind of try to keep it Old West and stick with that. And it just ultimately turned out to be this is what now is called branding, and we didn't know we were doing anything other than just enjoying coming up with ideas for another Pure Prairie League cover.
Well, speaking of another Pure Prairie League cover, one of the last questions here: what is there going to be another Pure Prairie League album cover? Are there plans to record new music, do an album or an EP, or just release music, or is touring the plan at this point?
Well, we've been thinking about we've been working on some new songs. We'll probably do one or two new songs in the set tonight that we're getting ready to record next month. And so we're thinking EP at this point. We don't do record deals anymore, and we just sell the records through, like our last 2 records or 3 records have been just through the website and after the shows. So we're thinking EP this time, and if we wind up coming up with another 15 songs that we can pull 11 or 12 out of, we'll have a whole album. But I don't want to just put out something just to put it out. I think at this stage of the game, after 46 years, we can kind of be, selective and choosy about what we're going to have representing us in the twilight of our career, as it were.
It still keeps on keeps on going, though. Mike Reilly from Pure Prairie League. Looking forward to the show tomorrow night.
So are we. We want to see everybody out, and we're looking forward to it.